Welcome to Ancient Whisper.
Ancient Greek history, a breathtaking. Ancient Greek history, a breathtaking journey through time. A story where myth blends with reality, where ideas reshape civilizations, and where warriors, philosophers, artists, and kings carve a legacy that still echoes through the world today. Our journey begins thousands of years ago on the island of Crete, with a civilization unlike anything Europe had ever seen, the Minoans. Around 3000 BCE, they built advanced palaces, vibrant frescoes, and a thriving maritime trade network that connected Crete to Egypt, the Near East, and across the Mediterranean. Their artwork reveals a society full of color, movement, and life, a culture that celebrated beauty, nature, and ritual. The Minoans were more than traders. They were cultural pioneers who paved the way for the civilizations that followed. As time passed, a new power rose on mainland Greece, the Mycenaeans. These were the warrior cities like Mycenae and Tiryns, protected by massive stone walls. They built a society defined by strength, hierarchy, and ambition. They developed Linear B, one of the earliest Greek writing systems, and organized their kingdoms with remarkable precision. The heroic tales of Achilles, Agamemnon, and the Trojan War are rooted in this era, a time when courage and conflict shaped the Greek imagination and laid the foundation for future epics. But even the greatest civilizations fall. Around 1100 BCE, both the Minoans and Mycenaeans collapsed, plunging Greece into what historians call the Dark Age. Population fell, writing nearly disappeared, and grand structures were no longer built. Yet, in this period of silence, something new was forming, something that would define Greek identity for centuries. Slowly, the Greek world reorganized itself into independent city-states known as poleis. Each polis had its own government, laws, traditions, and culture, and among them, two stood above the rest, Athens and Sparta. Athens became the cradle of democracy. Here, citizens gathered to debate, vote, and participate directly in political life. Though imperfect by modern standards, Athenian democracy introduced the radical idea that ordinary people could shape their own government. But Athens was more than politics. It was the birthplace of philosophy. Socrates challenged people to examine their beliefs. Plato imagined ideal societies and inspired centuries of thinkers. Aristotle studied logic, ethics, biology, and the natural world, laying the intellectual groundwork for Western science. Theaters flourished, tragedies and comedies explored human emotion, and art reached heights that still inspire awe. Across the Peloponnese, Sparta followed a very different path. A disciplined, militaristic society, it demanded strength and obedience from its citizens. Boys were trained from childhood to endure hardship and excel in combat. Individual desires mattered little. What mattered was unity, duty, and loyalty to the state. Spartan warriors became legendary for their toughness and resolve, symbols of a society built on endurance and order. Despite their differences, the Greeks shared a rich tapestry of myths. The gods of Mount Olympus, Zeus, Athena, Apollo, and many others, were more than characters and stories. They shaped how people understood morality, nature, and destiny. Heroes like Heracles, Perseus, and Theseus embodied bravery, sacrifice, intelligence, and human flaw. Temples, festivals, and art kept these myths alive, uniting the Greek world through shared beliefs and traditions. But history is not made only by culture. It is shaped by conflict as well. In the early 5th century BCE, the Persian Empire launched massive invasions into Greece. Against overwhelming odds, city-states like Athens and Sparta stood together. Battles such as Marathon, Thermopylae, and Salamis became legendary moments of resilience, courage, and strategy. The Greek victory preserved their independence and allowed their culture to flourish, yet unity did not last. Soon after, the Peloponnesian War erupted, a long, destructive conflict between Athens and Sparta. For nearly 30 years, the Greek world tore itself apart. Cities were destroyed, populations suffered, and power shifted again and again. The war weakened Greece, leaving it vulnerable to rising forces to the north. And it was from the north that a new leader would emerge, Alexander the Great. Tutored by Aristotle, skilled in strategy, and driven by immense ambition, Alexander built one of the greatest empires in history. He conquered lands from Greece to Egypt, from Persia to the edges of India. But more than a conqueror, he was a catalyst for cultural fusion. Through his campaigns, Greek language, architecture, science, and philosophy spread across continents. Cities like Alexandria became centers of learning and innovation, where Greek and local cultures blended into what we now call the Hellenistic world. This era transformed everything, from art and math. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more. See you in the next video.